Final Fantasy VII Remake brought many gamers back into the story of Cloud and Sephiroth with explosive success, crushing sales records on the PS4 within days of release. It was only natural that Crisis Core, another fan favorite, would get similar treatment to reintroduce audiences to the world of Gaia and expand more upon the story as Square Enix gears up for the next installment in the continuity. Crisis Core wasn't the only spin-off game of Final Fantasy VII. In 2006, Square Enix gave fan darling Vincent Valentine a game of his very own with Dirge of Cerberus, Final Fantasy VII. However, it was ultimately less successful than Crisis Core and divided the fan base quite a bit when it released. Still, Dirge of Cerberus is a great game to give the remake treatment to, not to mention that the remake universe won't feel complete without it. Set 3 years after the climax of Final Fantasy VII, Dirge of Cerberus focuses on Vincent Valentine and his adventures helping Reeve, the man behind the recognizable Cait Sith, and the World Regenesis organization Fight Deepground, a subsection of Shinra dedicated to the creation of genetically enhanced super soldiers. Vincent is soon targeted by the group as the experiments that Hojo did on him to turn him into the baleful polymorph have imbued him with protomateria. This can be used to control a super weapon related to Vincent's own chaos form. The game delves into Vincent's character and the traumas of his past, seeing him finally let them go and find the capacity to move on and live this new life that has been gifted to him. Dirge of Cerberus was conceived as a game to expand the world of Final Fantasy VII, and Vincent Valentine was a natural choice of protagonist, as he had very little filled-in backstory at the time and was a hit among fans due to his looks and brooding temperament. This was a huge experiment for Square Enix as it was a shooter game inspired by the success of Devil May Cry and was a very different project for the company at the time. Role-playing elements were added as well, with some mixed results. It was clearly a first shot at the genre and not a bad one by any stretch of the imagination. However, it was clearly a surprise to gamers as the combat is wildly different and takes a lot of getting used to. The American version of the game even had major overhauls to fine-tune the single-player experience, as the multiplayer was unavailable outside of Japan. It wasn't the only controversial Square Enix release in the early 2000s, but it was one of the most unique. All of this experimentation is what makes the game perfect for a remake. Since 2006, Square Enix has gotten to dip its toes into a myriad of new genres and expanded its teams. Vincent Valentine is still as popular a character as ever, with many gamers eagerly awaiting his inclusion in their parties in future installments of the remake titles. Dirge of Cerberus is a complex game at its core, but with modern technology and Square Enix's experience making different genres of games, this is the perfect time to give it a new life on a new console generation. Final Fantasy VII is a game that encompasses the complex relationships between creator and created, both on a cosmological level and on a personal one. Dirge of Cerberus takes those themes and runs with them, using Vincent's story as an experimental amalgamation to mirror the stories of the antagonists and the conflict of the planet itself. The game was a big gamble for Square Enix in 2006. Being a game in a genre that they were unfamiliar with as well as one that released right after the critical darling that was Kingdom Hearts 2, it can be hard to see how Dirge of Cerberus was truly meant to succeed. However, with the passage of time, a great opportunity has come. Dirge of Cerberus is, for all its flaws, a fascinating experience. With its genuinely fun story and interesting gameplay twists, it more than deserves the chance to wrap up the story once more and give gamers something new to try in the world of Final Fantasy.